You want to be unshakable. You want to be untouched by what people say, by rejection, by loss, by judgment. You want to walk through life like a stone in a river, untouched by the current. But here's the truth. Trying not to feel pain is not strength. It's fear dressed up as armor. Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." What does this mean? It means the pain you avoid, the rejection you bury, the trauma you hide. These things don't disappear. They go deeper. They slip into the shadows of your mind and start making choices for you. You think you're in control, but really your unhealed pain is. So many people today are chasing control. They believe, if I just stay strong enough, nothing can hurt me. But Jung teaches us that real strength comes not from resisting pain, but from facing it. If you avoid the pain, you become its slave. It owns you. It whispers fears into your mind. It shows up in your relationships, in your decisions, in your silence. That need to be unbothered, it's often a cry from the parts of you that were hurt and never healed. True freedom begins with awareness. You are not free when you're trying to control how people treat you. You are not free when every criticism breaks you, or every silence feels like rejection. You are not free when your strength depends on how well you hide your pain. You are free when you understand your pain, when you can sit with it, when you can say, "Yes, I was hurt, but I am healing." That's not weakness, that's power. Most people think suffering is the enemy, but Carl Jung saw suffering differently. He saw it as a teacher, a message from the soul. Your suffering shows you what you haven't accepted. It reveals the unconscious beliefs that shape your world. It shows you where you're still trying to be perfect instead of whole, where you're still trying to protect an image instead of becoming your true self. The unconscious is not your enemy. It is a part of you, built from repressed memories, from old wounds, from forgotten emotions. It shapes how you react to life, how you love, how you push people away, how you doubt yourself. You don't become free by ignoring this part of yourself. You become free by meeting it, looking at it, listening to it. If this message is connecting with something deep inside you, take a breath and pause with me. What's one part of yourself you've been avoiding? Drop a comment with the word healing if this resonates. And if you're finding value here, make sure to subscribe, give this video a like, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's coming next. Let's go even deeper. Carl Jung believed the goal of life isn't to become perfect, it's to become whole. That means owning your darkness just as much as your light. You see, pain that is not faced doesn't disappear, it becomes your shadow. And that shadow gets projected onto the world, onto your partner, your children, your job, your life. Suddenly, you're fighting enemies that don't exist because the real battle is within. We are all wearing masks. Jung called this the persona, the version of ourselves we present to the world. It's the role we play to be accepted, to survive, to appear strong. But if you live behind that mask too long, you forget who you really are. You start thinking your strength is in appearing unbothered, but inside, you're still breaking. And this is why so many people feel lost even when they're successful. They're not living as themselves. They're living as a defense mechanism. The journey of healing is not about becoming untouchable. It's about becoming real. To heal is to confront the parts of yourself you've kept hidden, even from yourself. It's to say, yes, I was rejected. Yes, I felt small. Yes, I built walls to protect myself. But now, I want to live. That's the work of individuation, the lifelong journey to integrate every part of yourself, light, dark, wounded, whole. You cannot run from your shadow forever. You cannot keep patching yourself with productivity, relationships, or distraction. At some point, the pain will catch up. not to punish you, but to invite you inward, because pain is not the problem, it's the invitation. And if you can answer that call, you will find something stronger than armor. You'll find clarity, not the kind that comes from controlling others, but the kind that comes from understanding yourself. If you're still listening, it means something inside you is waking up. That matters. Comment below, I choose awareness. And if this message is helping you remember who you really are, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this with someone who needs it. Let's continue. We are not meant to be perfect. We are meant to grow. And growth requires grief. You have to mourn the version of yourself that was only trying to survive. You have to let go of the belief that safety comes from hiding. You have to welcome pain not as punishment, but as part of your becoming. Carl Jung taught that suffering isn't failure, it's the beginning of transformation. In the end, emotional immunity doesn't mean nothing touches you. It means you understand what touches you and why. It means you're not thrown off course by every wave because you know where your center is. It means you've made peace with your past. You've listened to your wounds, you've learned from your shadow, and now you walk lighter. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You don't have to be afraid anymore. The pain, it was never your enemy. It was always your teacher. And now, as you begin to see it clearly, maybe for the first time in your life, nothing and nobody will ever hurt you again. We begin with a truth few people realize. That pain is not the enemy. It is a teacher. Carl Jung often reminded us that what we resist in ourselves persists, that the shadow, the unconscious part of us that holds our shame, anger, and unmet needs, is not evil. It's ignored, it's misunderstood, and so it grows. You see, when you repress pain instead of listening to it, it doesn't disappear. It hides, it shapeshifts, it shows up in how you react to people, in your inability to set boundaries, in the way you cling to relationships that no longer serve you. Pain that is ignored becomes the architect of your suffering, but pain that is acknowledged becomes the doorway to your transformation. It's not that nothing will ever hurt you again in the literal sense, it's that you won't be afraid of it anymore. You'll become someone who knows that hurt comes and goes, but your selfhood doesn't have to break with it. Hey, if this message is resonating with you, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. We're building something meaningful here, and your voice matters in this space. Here's something that might sting a little. Most of our suffering comes from the stories we tell ourselves about it. You get rejected and you tell yourself, I'm not good enough. You get criticized and you think, they must be right. You lose someone and believe you'll never recover. But what if rejection wasn't about you? What if criticism just reflected someone else's limited understanding? What if loss was painful, but not a sign that your world is over? Carl Jung taught us that the meaning we assign to our experiences is more powerful than the experiences themselves. The unconscious is always trying to make us whole, but if we stay asleep, if we don't examine what's happening inside us, then the unconscious doesn't disappear. It controls us from the dark. You've heard it. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Think about how many times you've repeated a pattern in relationships, work, or self-worth without knowing why. That's your unconscious shadow acting through you. And until you become aware, you'll keep thinking life is unfair, that people are cruel, that you're broken, when in truth, your inner child, your unhealed wounds, and your forgotten self are simply trying to be heard. Let's talk about armor, emotional armor, that false strength we build when we've been hurt too many times. You know what it looks like? I don't care anymore. I'm done trusting people. I'm fine on my own. It feels safe, doesn't it? Like if you shut the world out, nothing can get in. But here's the paradox. When you armor up, you also block yourself from love, intimacy, and growth. Carl Jung didn't believe in bypassing pain. He believed in integration, in accepting that the dark parts of us aren't to be exiled, but embraced. That true emotional strength doesn't come from being untouchable. It comes from being whole. The next time you feel yourself hardening, withdrawing, or numbing, ask yourself, am I protecting myself or abandoning myself? Because numbness is not healing, detachment is not peace, and isolation is not immunity. If this is helping you look at pain differently, like this video so YouTube knows to show it to more people like you. And feel free to share in the comments. What pain are you currently learning from? Let's go deeper now. To the process Jung called individuation. This isn't about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. Before you learned to hide your feelings, before you made yourself small for approval. Individuation is the journey toward psychological wholeness. It's not about perfection, it's about authenticity. It requires that you meet the parts of yourself you've ignored, with curiosity, not judgment. This process is slow, sometimes it's lonely. It asks you to break up with your illusions, to unlearn what your ego clings to walk into discomfort willingly because you know that's where the gold is. It means facing your guilt and seeing its roots, acknowledging your rage and hearing its message, holding your sadness with compassion instead of shame. Only then can you start living a life that's truly yours, not a performance, not a mask, but a life from your core. And that's where the promise begins to come true. Nothing and nobody will ever hurt you again, the same way, because you're not fragile anymore. You've integrated your depth. You've stopped being afraid of your own soul. Let's touch on one more essential point. Control is an illusion. So many people think if they just say the right thing, love the right way, work hard enough, look perfect, they can avoid pain. But life doesn't work that way. Control is a symptom of fear. And fear, Jung tells us, grows stronger the more we suppress it. True power isn't found in control, it's found in surrender. Not in the passive sense, but in the conscious one. To surrender is to say, I can't change what happens, but I can choose how I respond. I can't stop others from leaving, but I can stay with myself. I can't control every outcome, but I can walk through life awake. When you surrender to reality, you stop fighting the wind and start learning to sail. Carl Jung didn't offer easy answers, but he offered truth. And in a world addicted to appearances, that's rare. His work reminds us, the path to becoming unbreakable isn't found in resistance, it's found in revelation, in reclaiming the parts of you that were lost, abandoned, or shamed. And when you do that, when you meet your shadow with love, your pain with presence, your fear with understanding, then nothing and nobody will ever hurt you the same way again. Not because you've become cold, but because you've become whole. If you've made it this far, you're not here for surface level advice. You're here to become something deeper, someone more grounded, more self-aware, more unshakable. We've talked about pain, we've talked about integration, and now we talk about freedom, because once you meet your shadow, once you understand your unconscious, and once you stop running from your inner truth, then and only then do you become free. Let's finish this journey the way it was meant to end, truthfully, slowly, and completely. You must understand this. Most of the pain others cause you is not personal. This is one of the most difficult lessons. We internalize so much. We think when someone lies to us, it's because we deserved it. When someone leaves us, it must mean we weren't enough. When someone disrespects us, it reflects our worth. But Carl Jung reminds us that people don't act from awareness. They act from their own unresolved trauma, fears, and projections. They are not seeing you when they hurt you. They are reacting to themselves. And when you begin to realize this, not just intellectually, but in your bones, something shifts. You stop taking things so personally. You stop bending yourself to be accepted. You stop begging for love from people who don't even know how to love themselves. You don't need to harden. You don't need to retaliate. You don't need to shut down. You simply need to return to yourself and remember who you are, even when others forget. If this message is helping you find your center again, take a moment to like this video. It helps us reach more people on the same path. And drop a comment. What lesson are you walking away with so far? Now let's talk about what strength really means. You've probably been taught that strength is about endurance, that it's about pushing through no matter what, smiling through pain, holding back tears, carrying others even when you're falling apart. But Jung would disagree. True strength, he believed, is awareness. It's not the ability to keep going while suppressing everything. It's the ability to pause, to reflect, and to choose your response consciously. Real strength is saying no even when it disappoints people, leaving when you're being disrespected, speaking up when your voice shakes, resting without guilt, feeling deeply without letting it drown you, and sometimes it's letting go. Not because you've given up, but because you finally understand. Not everything is meant to be held. Some things, when released, lose their power to hurt you. Let's talk about forgiveness, not for them, but for you. Carl Jung never painted forgiveness as something soft and sentimental. He saw it as a conscious act of liberation. You don't forgive because the person deserves it. You forgive because you do. You deserve peace. You deserve rest. You deserve to reclaim the energy that's been trapped in resentment. But let's be clear. Forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean pretending the pain didn't happen. It means you choose not to let it define you anymore. You say, yes, it hurt, but I survived. Yes, it broke me, but I rebuilt. Yes, I was mistreated, but I refused to carry the poison. That's not weakness, that's power. You're not releasing them from accountability. You're releasing yourself from the chains. Take a breath. Right now, feel your body. Feel where you're holding tension. And know this, you're safe to let it go. Not because it didn't matter, but because you matter more. Let's now explore the concept of psychic immunity. This is the state Carl Jung pointed to, where life no longer throws you off center the same way. It doesn't mean you become emotionless. It means you stop being controlled by what happens outside of you. Someone insults you, you know who you are. Someone ghosts you, you've got your own presence. Someone doubts you, their opinion doesn't overwrite your reality. This doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. The more you confront your shadows, the less afraid you are of others' projections. The more you embrace your flaws, the less other people's criticisms sting. The more honest you are with yourself, the less anyone can manipulate you. This is what it means when we say, nothing and nobody will ever hurt you again. It doesn't mean the world changes, it means you do. And finally, the deepest truth of all, you are not broken. You've been through heartbreak, loss, betrayal. You've been misunderstood, overlooked, abandoned. You've doubted yourself, blamed yourself, shamed yourself. But you are not broken. You are becoming. Every crack you carry is not a flaw. It's a place where the light has entered you. Carl Jung believed deeply in the human soul's capacity to heal. If only we had the courage to look inward, to ask, what am I avoiding? What am I still carrying? What parts of me have I silenced in order to survive? And then to begin again. If this message helped you, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. We make videos like this, calm, deep, transformational for people like you. And leave a comment below. What are you letting go of today? You made it to the end. That says something about you. You're not afraid of the dark anymore. You're willing to face yourself. You're not looking for easy answers. You're looking for truth, and truth is what sets you free. The pain, it shaped you. The silence, it taught you to listen. The rejection, it redirected you home. Carl Jung gave us more than theory. He gave us permission to stop pretending, permission to dig deeper, permission to transform suffering into strength. So now you walk forward, not as someone who needs the world to treat you gently, but as someone who knows that nothing and nobody will ever hurt you the same again, because now you see, now you know, now you remember who you are, and that changes everything. This is Self-Era, where healing becomes your revolution, where your silence becomes your wisdom, and where your shadow becomes your guide. I'll see you in the next one.